Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Thomas. We are in final prediction mode for the massive fight happening tonight between Canelo and Edgar Berlanga in Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. Canelo's second home, so to speak. And yeah, now just three of the four world super middleweight titles on the line, having vacated the IBF belt. But before we get into our final predictions, Thomas, first and foremost, thanks very much for joining me. And guys, if you are watching this video, please do drop us a like on this video. Comment below your thoughts on the fight, whether you think Thomas and I were talking sense or whether you disagree with both of us or whatever our predictions are. And please do subscribe to the channel. There's a little icon in the corner of this video, and you hit that and you'll be subscribed to the channel. So yes, please do that. Thomas, as I mentioned at the beginning there, final predictions, Canelo, Berlanga. Let's work backwards. Please tell me your final prediction for the fight, and then first and foremost, who you think's going to win and why, and then we'll work backwards from there as to why you think that may be.
Sure. Yeah, man, I got Canelo winning by I would say mid to late round stop. I would say 7 to 8 round, somewhere around there. I think he's gonna break that knockout drought. And I think the reason for that is the thing about Berlanga is they're just really, first of all, he's kind of unproven. It hasn't really, I mean, he's fought some good guys, but nowhere on the level of Canelo. And he's been hurt and dropped by a guy, nowhere near the level of Canelo. So, like, imagine what happens when he gets hit on the chin with a clean Canelo punch. How is he going to react to that? Because he's going to get hit. So it's really a matter of, can he sustain taking the punishment over the 12 rounds? And I just don't think so. I see him getting stopped somewhere around round 7 or 8. And again, the thing about Berlanga is, he's a good puncher and a solid fighter, but there's just, in order to beat Canelo, the only two guys that have beaten Canelo are Bivol and Mayweather. So, I mean, you got to really, like, that's elite level. You got to have something next level to your game if you're going to beat Canelo. So, yeah, I see Canelo winning by stoppage here.
I mean, I did think you were going to go with Canelo, and I cannot disagree with anything you've said there. I think that, yes, Berlanga is a big puncher. He went on that mad first round knockout streak, didn't he? Up until he found a certain level. But as you mentioned, has been on the floor himself against, let's put it straight, a far lesser fighter than Canelo. Even Canelo, whether you think he's past his best by a few years, whether you think he's maybe not punching as hard as he once was, he's still levels above Edgar Berlanga, in my opinion. I think a 50% Canelo beats Berlanga. I don't know. That might have come across as a little harsh, but I genuinely do not see any way in which Berlanga wins this fight. I think, yeah, he's a big puncher, but I don't think he has anything that Canelo hasn't taken before. If you look at GGG, pound for pound, Golovkin was one of the biggest punchers we've ever seen, and he just took Golovkin's best shots on a chin. I know that was a few years ago against the prime Golovkin in the first and second fight, but you mean still you're taking those shots from a middleweight, but one of the hardest punchers we've seen in the past decade or two. I think Canelo ends his drought as well, mate. Interesting you said that. I was sitting here thinking, is Thomas going to go for a decision? Because it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't have surprised me if you had gone for that, because I do think when you look at that, his last five fights have obviously all gone to 12 rounds, losing one to Bivol, and then at four since he's won via decision. So I think it's some smart money could be on Canelo winning on points, but I actually agree with you. I completely agree with you, Thomas. I think that he's going to win this fight, and he's going to win it via stoppage. I think that the way you put it, Berlanga is going to get hit. I don't. There are question marks for me around Berlanga's chin, and that remains to be seen whether or not the he does have a chin or not. but he's certainly going to find. We're certainly going to find out. Because let's be honest, that Canelo's going to land and probably could start landing early. It's just a matter of when he starts landing his more clubbing shots and whether he starts having more prolonged success. I'm going to go slightly earlier than you actually, Thomas. I'm going to go for rounds 4 to 6, so kind of the second quarter of the fight, so to speak. Um, around then, because I do believe that there are levels, and the levels will be shown tonight in the ring. And I think even though Canelo, in my opinion, is perhaps past his best and has seen his better days and whatever, I think he still is far, far, far too much for Berlanga. So yeah, we're in tandem, mate, with our stoppage predictions. Just quickly before we finish, what do you want to see Canelo do next? I would assume that his next fight would be in early 2025 after this, maybe even Cinco de Mayo weekend again. What do you want to see him do next if he does indeed beat Berlanga tonight?
What do I want to see him do next? Well, I want to see him fight David Benavidez, but I mean, don't we all? I guess that ship has sailed, but honestly, I don't really see like in terms of the big fight, like what awaits Canelo, besides the Bivol rematch. I know he wants that. Um, I don't really like that fight for him, to be honest. I think Benavidez fight would be better for him and a more lucrative fight. But anyway, um, I'm gonna remain optimistic. I think we're gonna see Canelo on a Riyadh season card next year, and I think he's gonna fight the winner of Bivol Beterbiev.
Bold
And I
prediction,
think
Thomas.
I have a hunch that Bivol would win that one. Um, which would make that fight would make Canelo more likely to challenge, I think. But um, we shall see how that fight plays out. But I just, what is there left for Canelo to do besides, maybe fight Crawford? But then if he fights Crawford, he doesn't, it's kind of a lose-lose scenario for him. Um, so yeah, I want to see him fight the winner of Bivol Beterbiev. And I think if Turkey puts enough money down, perhaps it'll happen. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, mate. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. Benavidez is the one I want to see. Being realistic, do I see it happening? Probably not now. I think the Bivol rematch, provided Bivol wins, excuse me, on October 12th against Artur Beterbiev, then yeah, I do see that happening. I think Canelo wants to avenge that loss. Obviously, I don't think he will avenge that loss if that fight ever happened, but that's for another time. Again, a name I mentioned just before we finished, Thomas. A name I mentioned in our final prediction for Erislandy Lara against Danny Garcia, which is also going live and on the channel. So please do check that out. I mentioned Chris Eubank Jr. there for a potential next fight for Lara if he wanted, for a world title. Similarly, I'll say what you want about Chris Eubank Jr. His level is whatever level you think he is. He's a money maker. He's a cash cow. He's a big name in boxing, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that happened with the Canelo fight as well. So yeah, Thomas, thanks very much for joining me, mate. Really appreciate it. Always like to get your insight on these fights. And yeah, guys, if you've been watching this video, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, drop us a like on this video, and check out the rest of the content that we've got coming your way. Thomas, thanks very much, mate. All the best.